Is Kyrie Irving still a valuable player? Although Kyrie has all the talent in the world, as of late he started to gain the reputation of a player that isn't necessarily all that great for the locker room. But quickly before we get the video started, for those of you who may not know, I'm Juicy Sports, I make opinionative NBA content, and if you guys enjoy videos similar to this, hit that subscribe button, that like button, and that post notification bell. I also want to quickly mention that I recently started up an MMA channel, and if you guys are interested in that, the link will be in the description. But anyways, let's get into it. Ever since getting drafted into the NBA, Kyrie Irving has been one of the best players in the league. And especially offensively, his skill set has just been on another level. And I definitely think you can make the argument that Kyrie is the most talented player in the league. Not the best player in the league, just the most talented. The different level of skill sets that he has offensively is just incredible to watch. He's a very high level 3-point shooter. He can basically do anything from that range. He's an extremely high level shooter from that mid range as well. Can also literally do anything from there. Once he drives all the way to the basket, he has a phenomenal finishing ability. He has a great ability not only to finish through contact, but also finish around contact with crafty layups. He has a great ability to finish either with his left or right hand, so even if he goes up in the air at awkward angles, he still has the ability to finish basically no matter what. It's incredible to see Kyrie Irving finish around the basket. So it's pretty clear that Kyrie is a very legitimate 3-level scorer, and he has a very high level ability at all 3 levels. But to really tie everything together, Kyrie also has phenomenal ball handling, probably one of the best ball handling abilities in the NBA. I think it really comes down to him and Steph Curry, and of course there definitely is an argument to be made that Kyrie does have the best ball handling ability in the NBA. So in terms of his individual scoring ability, I definitely think Kyrie is one of the best, if not the best. Now a question that you may be asking is, if Kyrie is this talented, and in my opinion if he's the most talented player in the NBA, why would I ever question how valuable he would be to an NBA team? Now the issue with Kyrie Irving has never been his talent level. It was pretty clear for a very long time now that Kyrie was one of the most talented players in the NBA. But over the past few seasons, there's been a bunch of different interesting things that really happened off the court that would really lead some people to question how valuable Kyrie is to a team and if his talent level actually outweighs the negatives that he does have off the court. Now what I mean by this is, with the Cavaliers, Kyrie wanted to leave there, then he ended up getting traded to the Celtics. Then once he got to Boston, he said he would stay there for the rest of his career, or at least re-sign a contract with them. And then he ended up leaving after just 1 season. And then he got his choice to go to Brooklyn. He was excited about it. And then there was a whole issue with him not being allowed to play. But besides that, that's a personal issue. It seemed like he wanted to leave the Brooklyn Nets this season and go play with LeBron and the Lakers. But the point that I'm trying to make is, it seems like Kyrie doesn't necessarily stick around with an organization all that long, which would definitely bring up questions when organizations are looking to trade for or looking to sign him. And even besides that, it seems like there are some questions on whether or not he's good for a locker room overall as well. So there's definitely some questions off the court for Kyrie Irving. And Kyrie has also had somewhat of a reputation as ruining teams when he's on it, but especially after he leaves it, it seems like the teams aren't nearly as good as they were prior to Kyrie getting there, or prior to Kyrie making it clear that he wants to leave. But now let's get into the question of the video, which is the talent level that Kyrie possesses worth the off the court issues that may come alongside with him? Now I feel like the obvious answer, and something that most of you are probably thinking, is if you ever get the opportunity to bring in a talent like Kyrie Irving, you always take that opportunity 10 times out of 10, because at the end of the day, talent wins championships, and if you can get a talent like Kyrie, that's probably something that you should look at. But in my opinion, I think it's a little more complicated than that, and I think it's very situational when you're talking about a player like Kyrie. If you're talking about a legitimate championship contender and a well-established team, then I think you definitely look to bring in a guy like Kyrie 10 times out of 10. Adding a player at the level of Kyrie to an already very good championship contender is obviously going to make a lot of sense for them. But on the other hand, if you're talking about a rebuilding team with younger players, I definitely don't think it makes all that much sense for both Kyrie and and also the organization. But even if in another scenario you have a team that is relatively young, that is already a playoff team and is getting better, I still don't think it makes all that much sense to bring in a guy like Kyrie Irving. And an example of a team that I'm talking about would be like the Cleveland Cavaliers, for example. Now, obviously, specifically with the Cavs, they wouldn't need a point guard. They already have Darius Garland, but that's just an example of a team that I'm talking about in the second scenario. But a team like that, I also don't think it would make a lot of sense to bring in a guy like Kyrie Irving. But at the end of the day, at least for now, it seems like Kyrie is probably going to stay with the Brooklyn Nets, as it seems like Kevin Durant is also going to stay with them. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Nets are able to perform this upcoming season with Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and also Ben Simmons. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with him as well. So this could be the best landing spot for Kyrie. Maybe he's able to just utilize his great talent level with one of his very good friends in Kevin Durant and just play some good basketball in Brooklyn and see what happens from there. Now, whether or not they'll win an NBA championship obviously is remained to be seen. I don't personally see them as one of the favorites to do so, although I did see them as one of the favorites to do so in years past, due to the level of talent that they did have with Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. And even when it was just Kyrie and Kevin Durant, I still saw them as legitimate championship contenders and probably my favorite or one of my favorites to actually win the whole thing. But the fact that they weren't able to do so consistently season after season just made me lose confidence in them, and that's why I don't see them as being one of my favorites to win the whole thing this season. But obviously they still have enough talent to do so. But I guess we'll see what happens with the Brooklyn Nets this season, and if Kyrie decides to leave the following season or he decides to leave in a couple seasons after that, only time will tell what does end up happening there. But the moral of the story is Kyrie is one of the most talented players in the NBA still, even at this point. But of course there are some concerns with Kyrie off the court, and at the end of the day, if he ever does become available in free agency or he ever does become available in the trade market, I definitely think it makes a lot of sense for some teams to look to sign him or look to trade him if they're legitimate championship contenders and would have the ability to add a player like Kyrie Irving to their already very stacked roster. But for other younger teams, either if A, you're rebuilding, or if B, you're building towards something special but you're not necessarily there yet and you have mostly young players, I don't really think it makes all that much sense to trade for him or to look to sign him in free agency. When you're talking about a player like Kyrie, I just think it's very situational on which teams would look to trade for him or not. But I don't want to make it sound like I don't think Kyrie is valuable to certain teams, because of course, as I mentioned multiple times in this video, I think he's an extremely talented player, and when his career is all said and done, he will for sure be a Hall of Fame type player. What he was able to do throughout his career was amazing. What he was able to do throughout the playoffs, especially in the NBA Finals, where he hit that extremely clutch shot to really help the Cavaliers win that Game 7 against the Warriors, was as clutch as you can possibly get. And Kyrie has definitely had an extraordinary career, and he will continue to do so as he still is relatively young. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Kyrie Irving is still a valuable player at this point, or do you not think so? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy it, check one of these two videos popping up now, and until the next time, peace out guys.